You are watching the Real Anime Podcast with myself, Lewis, and my co-host over here, Mohnish. Today we are going to be talking about an anime which has been out for almost 12 years plus minus, I would say, where it's a very underrated anime, Terror and Resonance. So basically we have these two guys over here and their names are 9, 12, and Lisa over here, where they are like, let's just say more or less like a two-man crew, and then Lisa just came in plotting these terrorist attacks around Tokyo where they're trying to get a certain agenda across, where they literally came from a research facility and they were basically used for science, and they're trying to promote a message for saying that like we don't want to harm people, but we want to get our message across. So we're going to get into that about like what do we think of it, what don't we think about it, and all of that. But Monish, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Like
Sorry, it's nighttime. Sorry, good
it's
evening.
nighttime. Yeah. Bit of a time zone switch there. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm really happy to be talking about Terror in Resonance. To be honest with you, this episode feels incredibly like a long time coming because we've seen this anime a while back, but we just never, for some reason, did an episode on it. But
We did not.
I'm glad we're here now. So what are we like? What do we want to start with?
What are like some of the major themes that you can take away from this anime?
I mean, honestly, like there are a lot of themes in Terror and Resonance, but I don't think there are any themes as obvious as the theme of revenge, particularly in this, because in a sense, these terrorists they have like a lot of bad childhoods. They all come from a very similar place, and they're all assigned numbers and not names. You know, you got 12, 9, 5. So there are all kinds of like they're immediately given a very unfortunate personality trait where it's like who they are doesn't actually matter anymore. It's more about what they do. And in the opening few episodes, what do we see? Terrorist attack. Why? Because in this they play like these fictional sort of terrorists where it's like the Sphinx, I believe is what they're called,
Yeah, it's
right?
the the Sphinx group. I would say they're
Yeah,
known
yeah.
as
Yeah,
Sphinx 1 and 2.
Yes, Sphinx 1 and 2, they're kind of a duo, but they make it seem like they're a giant organization, but it's really just two kids. And, they're in high school while they're at it, and they're committing these acts of terrorism. But then you're wondering, like, oh, why? And why are we rooting for them? No, we're not rooting for them, but it's sort of like you're being put into a situation that's relatively uncomfortable by Shinichiro Watanabe, who we've loved him from Cowboy
Oh
Bebop,
yes, yeah.
and if I love Samurai Champloo as well, and hopefully maybe Lewis might check it out one fine day. But
Maybe we'll do a
back
podcast
to
about it.
oh yeah, that's true. Like I'm looking at like Terror and Resonance, and I'm already thinking like this is one of his most mature works in terms of how he's been able to just tell a story in 11 episodes, which sounds like a lot, but really if you look across Samurai Champloo, which definitely has more than 11 episodes, Cowboy Bebop for sure has more than 11 episodes, Terror and Resonance is one of those like anime series that you don't get a lot of. You don't see these kinds of animes every day, and it's a rare piece of like plot-driven, well-written anime that has this way of like showing its colors, if you will, through a more writers through the quality of the writing versus any flashy animation, but I will end it off with this because I think this will be a great way for us to segue into another discussion point, because Shinichiro Watanabe, whether it's Cowboy Bebop, whether it's Samurai Champloo or Terror and Resonance, the guy has a really great knack for choosing wonderful music for his animes. He's got great music in all of those animes, you know. But Louis, what did you think of the music in this? Though I will say, like, I remember you like watching this, and I said, "Oh, Louis is probably gonna love this, the music in this."
Yes, you are right. Fun fact. I mean, if you guys watch Cowboy Bebop, is actually the same, which actually is one of the questions which I actually wanted to ask also. Like the minus the music aside, one of the questions which I'll get to later was about like how did it compare to its predecessor, Cowboy Bebop, obviously, but two different stories. But we'll revisit that in a bit. But in terms of the music, I like it. I mean, you have a bit of a jazz in there, because obviously with the same composer from Cowboy Bebop, who the name of Yoko Kano, who is actually the composer of the the series itself, where I realized that when I watched it again, especially after watching Cowboy Bebop, which is like my all-time favorite anime, by the way, I would say that the music did justice for it, where like there was some certain action scenes where, or like there was building up to a certain action scenes. I really remembered like there was a bit of jazz, when listening to the music. And I first time when I watched it, like the first time, which was like back in the dinosaur ages, right? I remember. I didn't really pick up on the music itself, but that was way before I watched Cowboy Bebop. The music itself, there were like moments of jazz where I just reminded, like, I remember jazz had a bit of action, it had some action scenes with a bit of jazz in there at the back. And also, like some moments where the piano, you had like some slow moments, like the piano was just like taking its time, not too fast, not too slow, at a steady pace. Like, it's like that. I think you probably, I can't describe it. I need to play it on a literal piano. Where every time you hear that piano score itself, like the moment where it's just only for like 30 seconds or so, you already know that something is like bugging these characters itself, lah, I would say, for like a certain moment that is gonna happen in the episode itself. But nevertheless, let's move on to like our next question itself, where we are gonna be talking about its its previous successor, Cowboy Bebop. Shinichiro Watanabe, obviously, I think, let's be honest, he's known for Cowboy Bebop, where I'm very grateful that you introduced me to Cowboy Bebop, and I don't think we've ever did an episode of Cowboy Bebop, which could be our next. Who knows? We'll discuss behind the scenes. Mohnish and I will discuss behind the scenes about maybe doing a Cowboy Bebop special. It just came into my mind. But the second question is I want to bring up Shinichiro Watanabe, obviously known for his work for Cowboy Bebop. Now, yes, there are two different universes that we're talking about, because Cowboy Bebop, correct me if I'm wrong, it was taking place in like the I can't remember the exact year, but it was in the near future, right? And this Terror and Resonance was kind of like taking place in, I don't know what exact year, let's just say 21st century or whatnot, because I saw like there was like a iPhone in the shot itself. So I want to ask you, Monish, here's a question for you. How does Terror in Resonance compare to its predecessor?
Well, Terror and Resonance and Cowboy Bebop, like, let's get this straight. They're both great animes, and they both have their own contributions to the anime industry, as it were. Cowboy Bebop, of course, has much more of a landmark than Terror and Resonance, because it is very, very famous, and it's really stood the test of time. What I love is how Shinichiro Watanabe keeps the band together, I suppose, on this thing, because the composer for Terror and Resonance is also Yoko Kanno, who did the iconic score in Cowboy Bebop. But if you compare the stories, it's actually very, very much. There's a lot of reflection in those stories, because Cowboy Bebop is also, Spike Spiegel is a rebel. At the end of the day, he's a guy who's rebelling against the rules of society, which very much the two sphinxes in Terror in Resonance also do the same thing. They're literally rebels, and they become these terrorists with a conscience, if you will. So I look at this, and he has really shown, Shinichiro Watanabe, he's really shown the idea of a flawed protagonist. A protagonist that isn't all good or bad, someone who's more in the gray area of things. And I think that speaks to really strong writings, really strong character, and also I feel the different time zones, if you will, because Cowboy Bebop is set in a futuristic world in space, and it's very much more of an interstellar vibe. And then Terror and Resonance is contemporary, set in our world with our world's rules in some way, but also it's like a heightened reality in some way, because obviously these kinds of terrorist attacks have unfortunately happened in the real world. But he uses these kinds of really traumatic incidents, especially in Terror and Resonance, where it's like, oh, okay, I'm not asking you to support terrorists. I'm asking you to see what it's like from this perspective. And then the terrorists actually start to gain morality, and they start to find errors of the errors in their ways, and see how their revenge is actually hurting people who they don't mean to harm. And it sort of brings this difficult conversation of morality, of right and wrong, or good and evil, and all these kinds of things, which all great writing should do. And personally speaking, I think Terror and Resonance, Cowboy Bebop, whichever you choose to watch, you're going to be doing yourself a big favor, because either one is absolutely brilliant. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you are right. I mean, we're talking a bit of Cowboy Bebop itself. Obviously, you have these two characters in Jet and Spike itself, where these two guys, they literally just like literally have to go like bounty hunting just to make a living, which kind of questions yourself as a viewer. Are they actually doing the right thing or the wrong thing? You know, they literally have to like find money, and they literally just have to get their hands dirty, which in a way is kind of like a direct link to what you said, Monish, with Terror and Resonance, where we are questioning the duality in a way where obviously terrorism is not, it's not nice to hear in real life, and unfortunately it has happened in the past in our world. But at the same time itself, the way it's written is actually asking yourself, is this actually a good thing or a bad thing? Because some might say, because you can correct me if I'm wrong. I remember like in episode 5 or 4 or 5, where there was the attacks in the underground itself, where okay, 72 people. I remember there was one scene where it says like 72 people were injured in the blast. I remember that. I'm surprised I remember 72 people, but yeah, it was 72 people, and no one was killed. No one was there. They were heavily injured, yes. But at the same time, when you hear these guys do like another announcement saying that like, oh, no one got killed, so we are not trying to promote like people like violence or whatnot. But at the same time, if like maybe if it was a second or two earlier, it could have been a bigger number of people. Instead of them being injured, it could have been loss of lives. So you're trying to question is, what we're trying to question is, are they actually doing the right actions to actually promote a better message? Or at the same time, is it a way where these two guys in Terror and Resonance, where they're just like, yes, they grew up in like a research facility where they are orphans, and you remember, right, Monish, in like certain moments where you hear 9 or 12, they have like this loud pinging noise, like playing constantly in the back of the head, where it's kind of like, it's like PTSD of them just like reminded of like the bad things that happened to them when they were in the research facility. And let's be honest, no one should ever go through stuff like that, because they're not like normal human beings. They're just like another number, and not knowing, they're just like another number in a research lab for them to be tested on and whatnot. So in a way, you kind of feel pity for these guys for doing these wrong actions, like committing all these like crime against humanity. But you're still questioning yourself, if you were in their shoes, what would you do? That's one of the reasons why I love the show itself, because it's questioning what is right and what is wrong. We humans, we know what is right and what is wrong in this world, of course. But when you watch it on the TV, not forget about anime for a moment, even any film or any TV show or whatnot, you do have these sort of moments where you question yourself. What is right and what is wrong? And you know what is right? The people who are viewing and listening to our podcast right now, that is the right thing that you are doing right now. And thank you for the support that you have given us, and some of the comments also. Monish and I think soon enough we might have to organize a meet and greet, but we have to talk with our agents over here, my two hungry hippos. I think you guys already know who my hungry hippos, my two dogs, of course. So maybe down the line, but we're just two average Joes who just love to talk about film and shows. But okay, nevertheless, but thank you again, guys. Thank you again. Okay, now one of the things that when I was doing a bit of my research itself, if let's say, let me ask you a question, Monish. Right, this is just like just a general question. Name like any sort of like anime which you think is popular for TV. Let's just say keep it to TV shows. From the top of your head, I'll give you 10 seconds to name at least 3 TV shows that are popular in terms of the anime genre.
Okay. Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, and Boku no Hero.
Okay. Let's be honest. Let's say if you ask 100 people in a crowd, huge anime lovers, let's just say at least close to 100 people will know all these anime, all these like animes which are shown. and they're somewhat classed as like maybe a league of their own. Which brings me to my next question. Terror and Resonance. Do you feel like this anime is very underappreciated? Because like when I was also doing my research, I forgot to continue on from what I wanted to say. Some articles I read, they said that it does not receive a lot of love like how Jujutsu Kaisen or One Piece. I mean, okay, you can't compare One Piece, like it's been around for donkeys, but still, it's everyone knows it. Even my two dogs even know what's One Piece. They want to eat Luffy's bone already, and stuff like that. Or let's just say another one like Naruto from back in the day, or Tokyo Ghoul, or blah blah blah, and so on and so on. These are like what people like, if you were to like include from like the mass audience, will class as like top tier animes, right? But why do you feel that this anime itself feels underappreciated? I want to hear your thoughts. And whoever's listening to this, put down your thoughts if you watch this anime too.
Well, I mean, Terror and Resonance has probably flown under the radar because of perhaps the way it was made. Like I said, if you look back at the examples you asked me to name, Jujutsu Kaisen, Boku no Hero, and what was the other one I talked about? Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer, yes.
So, right, those three, the one thing all three have in common is flashy animation. Now, this is not to knock flashy animation, but you have everyone who's got some kind of magical power, some kind of superpower, some kind of special ability, but at the end of the day, people are drawn to that, right? That's how the beauty of animation works. Animation allows you to build characters that could not live in this world, and it really allows you to stretch the boundaries of what reality allows. But what Shinichiro Watanabe is doing with Terror and Resonance is Terror and Resonance can exist perfectly in our world. If you were to translate that short, that sort of short episode, short 11 episode run into live action, you could do it. There isn't going to be a problem with, like, for example, if you look at One Piece, or if you look at Cowboy Bebop, the live action versus the anime, the live action flopped for a plethora of reasons. But if you look at the One Piece live action, the amount of money that has to fly into that project, and just so that Luffy's arm can stretch out out a few meters, and that Zoro can cut down 100 different people, or that Sanji can kick a bunch of people in the most awkward, the most physics-defying positions in the world. The amount of stunt training, the amount of CGI, the amount of visual effects, the amount of practical effects that go into that kind of thing, it costs a lot of money. But if you use Terror and Resonance as a reference, you could give this to, I will use a Hollywood director, you could give this to either David Fincher or Michael Mann. They'd be able to tell you a great story with this anime. Because why? There's nothing in there that cannot exist in our world. Not really, Explosions? Dude, Michael Bay's been doing explosions since before this kind of thing's been happening. And if you want to talk about thrillers, David Fincher, Michael Mann, those guys literally made thrillers what they are today. So if you ask me, Terror and Resonance is one of the most adaptable animes that exist in the current anime industry scape. So like, I'm looking at that and I'm going, yeah, I understand why the general anime audience hasn't really picked up on it, because it's not a flashy anime. It's not an anime that jumps out at you. And it's also not an anime that is necessarily made for animation alone, Now, of course, the bridge between live action and anime has become quite easy. Not easy, but has become easier to cross. But Terror and Resonance can be done in live action, so I feel it just feels like a bit too much of reality for people, maybe. Maybe it's a difficult sell. But to me, I love these kinds of animes. These kinds of animes, you don't get them every day. You get this anime, probably Monster and 91 Days. Those are the other animes that have a similar approach to Terror and Resonance. So I feel like promoting an anime like this, bringing sort of a more realistic anime, a more grounded anime, the word grounded anime, to the forefront is what I really love to do here, especially on the Real Anime Podcast, where we're able to bring people to check out these kinds of animes, because Tokyo has never looked so good in animation, number one. Number two, Terror and Resonance is a really well-written anime. So in 11 episodes, considering the fact that One Piece is getting remade in animation, 11 episodes sounds like a bloody short film. So yeah.
I mean, if any of the big movie players, Netflix, Amazon Prime, or anyone listening to our podcast, why not? Why not make a Terror in Resonance live action? I would certainly love that, right? Let's be honest. Like One Piece is okay. Just for disclaimer, I've not watched the live action. I watched some episodes of the One Piece anime itself. All right, I'm wanting to watch it because I know there's a second season came out about a while ago for One Piece itself. So I think it's going to be another podcast idea that we can do.
Sorry to interrupt, but the second season is bloody brilliant. Anyway, go ahead.
I mean, I watched bits and pieces of it actually. I watched bits and pieces of it, but I want to make sure I watch it properly. But nevertheless, I mean, like, yes, you are right. A show like Terror in Resonance can actually be adaptable to a live action. I mean, the film Perfect Blue. The film was so good that Black Swan even literally just like paid like a homage to it.
I mean, if I may be able to interrupt.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
The homage between Perfect Blue and Black Swan is one of the reasons why I really love anime, because Black Swan doesn't really just give an homage. Even the main character is a ballet dancer. So, you got to say, like, and in Perfect Blue, the main character is a pop star. So you can see like they're in the similar, well, different but similar points of an artistic expression. They're both artistic people. They're both creative people expressing themselves. So I look at that and I'm like, yeah. And the mirror bits in Black Swan, which you can see in Perfect Blue, where she's, her reflection is literally changing. I'm like, dude, this is what I mean, man. Anime, like, and live action work together really well. But yes, Louis, back to you.
Yeah, you're right. And then obviously you have other instances such as like games, like animes being adapted into games or vice versa, right? Last of Us is a good example. And then also you have, what else is out there? You have Cyberpunk. Okay, I mean, there's no direct sequels from, there's no link to it, but there are some elements from the anime and the game itself like linked in together. But they are two totally different stories. You won't see Keanu Reeves in the anime. Okay, sorry to say.
Wait, I may be, if I may interject. Now, while I do agree with Louis, you may not see Keanu Reeves in an anime.
In that anime itself, sorry. In Cyberpunk.
Yes, in that anime.
Yes,
in
yes,
Cyberpunk,
yes.
of course.
Yes, yes.
That would be that would be kind of insane, I have to admit. But he is doing a animation, if I'm not mistaken, of his comic book series Berserk or Berserker. Berserker, I believe is what it's called. Yes. Or yeah, I can't remember. We got to Google that. But it's Berserk or Berserker, and I gotta tell you, Keanu Reeves voicing an anime character is everything I need today. You know what I mean? Oh my god! And the Berserker comics are supposed to be super violent too. So, go anyway. Respect to you.
So yeah, that could be another podcast idea for the near future. I mean, we've got. Mohnish and I, we want to make sure that we bring the best quality to you guys.
If Keanu Reeves is listening, if you want to be a guest on our podcast, we do our best to fit you in.
Hey man, that'll be the dream. I mean, just the other day we hit our first 100 likes on our videos the other day. So you guys are killing it. So we never know what's going to happen in this world itself. Let's be honest. But
actually, just while Louis brought up our lovely audience, Louis, maybe we should you should thank them for the lovely support with our reels and on Instagram.
I mean, okay, let's as we're recording this is 24th of April 1999. See, we travel back in time.
1999.
I mean, it's soon going to be some uncle's birthday soon. And as we speak now, guys, we just now it's about, we're not going to reveal the time because we don't want you guys to know what time zone we are using. But as of 4.5 hours ago, where Mohnish we uploaded, well, Mohnish over here, sorry, uploaded our Hanabi episode, where as counting, we have over 117 likes, one comment, and then let's see the insight itself. And 60 saves, huh? So you really guys, you guys really want us to be like academic sources, I must say. We'll be more than happy to do it, man. I don't mind, man. I mean, I talk nonsense anyways, but I mean, I don't mind helping you guys out. But
I mean, you know, if nothing else, I'd just like to say thank you guys very much for supporting us, and it's great to see that you guys are responding to our to the content that we put out and to the knowledge that we have learned and are still learning. But thank you so much for all the support. And you know lah, I mean, Louis also did a wonderful job with his Hanabi reel just yesterday, so you can check that out. Over 2,000 plus views now.
Oh yeah,
That's crazy.
oh yeah.
Considering our previous average was like few hundred, I mean, this is a really nice change, and to get responses like this, it's not every day this happens. So thank you guys very much, and we will do our best to keep up.
Yeah, but that's actually not the end of the podcast because there's one final remaining question.
Oh yeah,
we did
What's
speak
the
about
question?
it, but this is last but not least, guys. I know. Thank you again for really sticking by us. I mean, you know, sometimes we do we do a bit of Wonka way in our podcast, lah. Let's be honest. I have a script. I have the questions here, but sometimes we just go off topic. We should call this the wrong anime podcast, lah. Let's just say.
Okay, what's your question?
So last but not least, guys, to end off the show, I mean, we spoke a bit about it, right? But tell me, you are a script writer yourself, Mohnish, right? I don't
Actually,
consider-
Louis, before you start on your last question, can you tell our lovely audience what that picture is behind you in your background?
What can I say, guys? We are the wrong anime podcast. We don't do everything by the script, but as you can see here, this is the bit I remember in episode 4 or 5 where brother over here, brother 12 over here, literally picked up Lisa because she was about to kena tahan by the police. Sorry, English. She was about to get get walloped by the police. What this man decided to just pick her up, put on a motorbike, off they went. It kind of reminded me a bit like Akira, not gonna lie. You know? I mean, Akira was the reason why we have like things such as Tron Legacy, Cyberpunk. I mean, we did a Akira episode like a couple years back. So yeah, I mean, that's if you're wondering what this is like from that episode itself. But yeah, but nevertheless, with the last question itself, how did they manage to fit all? It's not like a flashy anime like Jujutsu Kaisen, Attack on Titan. Terrorism is more or less like that. It's like a psychological thriller sort of anime. How do they fit in so much information? You forget about the intro because the intro is about 2 minutes long. And also the credits is about like a minute or two long. So let's just say
bloody brilliant intro, I have to admit.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no,
just to interject.
I forgot it. I don't.
Oh my god! I was thinking you all will tune out. But on the bright side, let's continue with your question.
But the last question is, how is it possible to fit in that amount of information in one episode alone? Right? Like the amount of actions, amount of dialogues, amount of narrative. I can see you going on your kapala, so I know that it's a good question to ask. And
okay,
yeah.
like I mean, as a someone who hopefully can one day be as good a screenwriter as Shinichiro Watanabe is, I look at those episodes and I just see how dense they are, and it's amazing because each episode's roughly 25 minutes, give or take, with a 2-minute intro minus that 23 minutes, plus there's the ending as well, probably 1 minute. So give or take, you have about 20 to 22 minutes worth of actual plot, right? And it's incredibly dense in each episode, and you only have 11 episodes to tell this story. So I'm just like, the way the thing I love about anime that teaches me as a filmmaker so much is like the efficiency in the shots. They can tell a story with just 2 shots that would take a live action 4 to 5 shots. Why? Because in animation, it's so much more expensive. So they have to be a lot more prepared, and they have to really know what they're saying before they ever even touch the animation itself. So they're already like, okay, we only need 2 shots for people to know this guy has a gun. We need 1 shot for this guy to for us to tell the audience that this is the target, and we need 1 or 2 more shots to set up the victims. And that kind of plot efficiency in planning your shots so efficiently that across 8 shots you can tell a story that is worth 20 minutes. And guess what? After 8 shots, you're only through the first minute, 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. And when you look at that, that kind of plot efficiency, the visual storytelling before they even start talking. That is what makes anime such a great lesson for me as a filmmaker. Because I look at that and I see the plot density in just 1 to 2 minutes that it would take even short films these days that are over 30 minutes long. They don't achieve that kind of plot density, right? And some feature films don't even achieve that kind of plot density. And you do this across 11 episodes. I guarantee you, if they did not have this kind of efficiency, plot density, and prep, they would need at least 20 episodes to tell this kind of story. But that's what anime really brings to the forefront, and that's what Terror in Resonance and any great anime, doesn't matter whether it's Terror in Resonance, Jujutsu Kaisen, Attack on Titan, Boku no Hero, they all have the same principles. Any anime that is worth a damn really shows these kinds of principles of plot efficiency, shot planning, because they're so expensive. Especially animes that have a lot of moving parts, which these days it's pretty much every anime you can think of. They need to tell a great story. Imagine telling a single three-act story in just 3 shots. That's kind of what anime does. And that, as a filmmaker, to me especially, I really need to learn from that, because conveying that much information in so little time is. But yeah, Lewis, what do you think?
I mean, you don't want to do like something like let's take like an anime from back in the day, Tokyo Ghoul season 2 itself, where they was like building from the hype of season 1 itself. Then when it got into season 2, okay, I mean, I didn't mind it, all right, because obviously it was the main character. It's like I forgot the name of it, but the main character decided to be. It's been a while. It's been a few years since I last watched it, but
Main character of
Tokyo Ghoul.
Tokyo Ghoul, Kaneki, is it?
Kaneki. Yes. He basically become a ghoul after that. Then after he become
Yeah. I know the story. I just want to make sure I'm not mistaking it for Parasite. You know what I mean?
No, Hanaki, right? I think that's the fella's name.
Yeah, Kaneki.
Yeah. So the reason why I brought that out is because I mean, I didn't find anything wrong with Tokyo Ghoul season 2 actually, but but I guess like when that's probably one of the reasons why maybe Sub did Terror in Resonance only one season. And you don't want to, and that's the risk of like having like running another season, because you don't know what's the audience reaction going to be like. And obviously, like that is a perfect example where you do more is less, not less is more, right? You want to put in as much action scenes, but then obviously the second season did not. Of Tokyo Ghoul did not do it. People said that it's not a lot of action scenes because he wanted to go for more of a narrative structure itself. So obviously, like, you do, I mean, like, I get why, like, how like a story should be written, straight to the point, less is more. I mean, if you want to have a bunch of action, fine, you can, but Terror in Resonance is a perfect example of less is more, where you don't listen to what people want, you just do whatever you want to do. Like Cowboy Bebop, for example, I didn't like it for the first 4 episodes, not gonna lie, right? But as I got deeper and deeper into the story itself, like, look, it was Cowboy Bebop was like the best anime itself. But with that being said, I think Terror in Resonance is a good example of how less is more should be done in a way. And yeah, all I can say is please give Terror in Resonance a go. It's really a good show that you guys should really check out. Shinichiro Watanabe did a fantastic job, and if you guys watch Cowboy Bebop, you will like this for sure. Mohnish, any final words?
Well, yeah, I mean, like Lewis said, watch Terror in Resonance. You won't regret it. And thank you all for the lovely support for the podcast. It's been relatively overwhelming, and we will do our best to keep up with the episodes, the reels, and eventually, Luis is the more famous of us. So he will handle that. But I on the bright side, I'm very, very honored and happy to be working here for Luis. He pays me well, so I'm quite happy. But yeah, he is the boss lah. So anyway, I as the employee of the month am very, very happy today. Terima kasih banyak-banyak. I ambil bonus. Arigatou gozaimashita. Okay. But yeah, Thank you all very much for watching. Thank you all very much for listening. Do check us out on Spotify. Give us that support there. And thank you for your YouTube as well. And Instagram's been amazing. So thank you all so much for responding. And we will see you in the next episode.